So when should the public and the media be let in or shut out of court, and what should guide that decision? Thank you so much for joining us for another edition of All Angles. I'm Dion Jacksonville, and with me in studio to talk through those issues, we have the President of the Press Association of Jamaica, Milton Walker, President of the Jamaican Bar Association, Kevin Powell, as well as King's Counsel Caroline Hay. Will be joined in a little bit by Attorney at Law John Clark. And before we start, here's a look at how we got to the question I'm asking. The Jolian Silvera murder case is one of the most high-profile matters to enter the Jamaican courts in recent years. On November 10, 2023, Melissa Silvera, the wife of the former MP for St. Mary West, was reported to have died in her sleep at the age of 42. But in December, news came that a post-mortem had shown 3 bullet fragments in her body. The police launched a murder investigation. Melissa Silvera was buried on January 12, 2024. 1 week later, on January 19, Jolian Silvera was taken into police custody. Mr. Silvera was charged with murder. This was Deputy Commissioner of Police Fitz Bailey.
About 12 midday, Joylan Silvera, age 52 years old, land developer, was formally charged by the police, that is the Major Investigation Division, for the murder of his wife, Melissa Silvera.
The media and the public have been following the case closely, but when reporters turned up at the Supreme Court to cover Mr. Silvera's first court appearance, the presiding judge told them they wouldn't be allowed in, saying discretion has to be exercised in each case. The Press Association of Jamaica called for the media to be allowed to observe the proceedings in line with the principle of what is called open justice.
It is a public interest matter of unprecedented importance, given that we have a former legislator who is charged with murder. Never before in our history have we had that. And we believe it is bad form to have the media sitting on the outside while the proceedings happen.
The Judiciary of Jamaica issued a statement saying the matter was a gun court case, and the default position under the Gun Court Act is that the public and the media are excluded from court. The Jamaican Bar Association, JAMBAR, agreed that the Gun Court Act allows exclusion of the media, but called for a wider debate as to whether the Gun Court Act needs to be reviewed. Meanwhile, the Press Association is now calling for the Gun Court Act to be amended. The PAJ says the public and the media should only be excluded from court in exceptional circumstances. So, open or shut? Should the 1974 Gun Court Act be amended in the interest of open justice, or are its restrictions necessary? Dion Jacksonville, All Angles. Okay, so let's start with my list of disclosures. So I'm a former president of the Press Association of Jamaica, currently still on the executive that put out those 2 statements. Milton is also my boss, and I'm a member of the Jamaican Bar Association, albeit not paid up, as I said, and albeit that I don't agree with some aspects of the statement they put out. My position on it is already publicly known, which is in accordance with the statements put out by the Press Association. I think I got everything there. So
you're dancing through the raindrops.
So much for free speech. No, not dancing at all, just walking straight through. I want to start, though, with something that JAMBAR, the Jamaican Bar Association, said in its statement, part of what I didn't agree with, which is that you were concerned about what you call public pressuring of the judiciary in this matter, and you suggested that if the Press Association of Jamaica has problems, they should either appeal or seek some kind of constitutional challenge. And let me ask you to explain your thinking a little bit more, Kevin.
So I think the focus of our comment there was in relation to the part of the PAJ's release that indicated that the judge should reverse her decision. And the Bar Association fully supports criticism of judges on the court. Where we had an issue is where one tries to influence the decision of a judge from outside the court process, the established court processes. So I think that's where the distinction was. A little nuanced, but that's where we really took an issue with.
Do you make a distinction, though, between trying to influence the judiciary, the substance of a judiciary decision? In other words, if a particular defendant is guilty or not guilty, or what decisions are made in the case, as opposed to what is happening here, which is we think media should be in the courtroom.
Yeah.
So there,
in the term of how the trial is conducted.
Right. Trial is conducted, right.
Open to the public, yeah.
right. So there's a distinction, I think, to be drawn between whether you are saying the court took a decision which is wrong, and I don't agree with it because I don't think the legislation which exists should be in the state that it is. So even if a judge makes a decision that doesn't directly affect the substantive guilt or innocence of the accused, I think there are still decisions within the actual court process which I think if one is challenging it, there's an established procedure to do that versus a criticism of the legislative framework.
Well, the media policy from the judiciary, from the court administration division, says that individual judges can bar media for, respective cases. And that's subject to any judge making that decision in his or her court. So that exists there, and there's some of us in the profession that have issues with that because it's left to the discretion of the judge. And as in this case, a decision was made and no explanation was given as to why this decision was made. That was also another key part of our difficulty with the decision.
I want to bring in, I'll let you respond and bring in Caroline here as well, but we're at the break. Let's just take the break. We're back in a moment.